Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa amma ba'd. Fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Welcome to the first day of the viral spirituality bites that we will be doing every day about 25 minutes before Maghrib, and it will end inshallah 5 minutes before Maghrib so that we can have some time to prepare and make dua and get ready for our iftar inshallah. On the first day, I would like to discuss what is probably on everyone's mind, which is how can I make the most out of Ramadan in quarantine? Because as far as I can remember, and I'm pretty old, we've never had a Ramadan like this, right? And everyone is sitting at home. There's no masjid. There's no fard salah going on. The masjid used to have programs. There used to be the community. There used to be taraweeh. There used to be this hustle and bustle, what people used to call the festival or the celebration of Ramadan, and all of a sudden is gone this year. And when you start to think about it, you say, wow, I mean, I'm so not ready for this, right? I mean, none of us are ready for this. But you know what? The good news is that there is precedent in the past of having such a Ramadan. And surprisingly enough, this is actually close to how the Sahaba used to have their Ramadan. Because if you recall the hadith where it mentions that the Prophet ﷺ came out at night to pray the Taraweeh prayer, he prayed one night, then 2 nights, and then he stopped coming and he said, the reason why I'm doing this is so that it does not become fard. In other words, until Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu instituted Taraweeh after the Prophet ﷺ passed away, everyone used to pray alone. Everyone used to pray in their houses. So this is actually similar to how the Sahaba used to have their Ramadan. So we can take some heart in that and say that actually this is closer to how the original Ramadan used to be. Amazing challenges bring amazing rewards. Any deed that you perform, the more difficult it is, the more sacrifices it requires you to make, the more difficulty you undergo for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, desiring His pleasure and His pleasure alone, the more the reward will be inshallah. So if we are undergoing some spiritual difficulty, some physical difficulty, some financial difficulty, some worry, whatever it is, alhamdulillah, we will be rewarded in accordance to it. And as we know, that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that when a person misses something that he used to do regularly because of some kind of excuse that comes up, a genuine excuse, let's say he gets sick, right? Let's say he gets sick and one day he cannot wake up for his tahajjud salah. He gets rewarded as if he prayed that salah, because the circumstances came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his intention was there, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed him to, he would have prayed. So therefore, we can understand that this difficulty in which we're not able to come to the masjid is something that we will be rewarded for as if we were going to the masjid, because we are doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we know, believers are always the winner, whether it's something good that happens to them or whether it's something bad that happens to them, quote unquote bad. عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله خير وليس ذاك لأحد إلا للمؤمن إن أصابته سراء شكر فكان خيرا له وإن أصابته ضراء صبر فكان خيرا له. You cannot lose. If something good happens to you, you're grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you're rewarded for that. And if something bad happens to you, you endure it patiently and you do sabr, and it's good for him in that as well. Another thing I would like to mention is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran is Khafidatul Rafi'ah, mentioning the Day of Judgment in the beginning of Surah Al-Waqi'ah. It will lower some people, it will debase them, it will humiliate them, and it will raise some people. Anytime some big event happens, it lowers some people and some people are raised by it. The same way with this pandemic, inshallah, it will raise the Muslims. It will purify them of their impurities. It will cause them to gain immense reward. And the people that were not on the right path, na'udhu billah, it may even debase them, it may humiliate them even further. They were running after dunya and now their dunya is gone. Right? So it's possible that people that were not so well off, right, in this dunya end up being very well in the akhirah, because of some great event that happens that changes the circumstances, in which, for example, in the akhirah, money will not matter anymore. Right? Money will not matter. So I wanted to end with some brief points that I think that we should keep in mind as to how we should make the best of this Ramadan. Number one is the establishment of prayer in the house. Since the masjid is not available, we need to establish the masjid in our house. We need to make our house the masjid. How do we make our house like the masjid? What happens in the masjid? We have 5 times salah there. We should designate a place in our house in which we pray our salah together as a family. We should call the adhan out loud. It will chase off shaitan. We should call the iqamah. We should have fixed prayer times. The same way the masjid has a fixed prayer time, our house should also have a fixed prayer time. We should say we're going to pray Fajr, let's say 10 minutes after Suhoor. We are going to pray Zohar at 2 o'clock, let's say. You just fix a time that's convenient for everyone that needs to pray, and you establish the prayer in the house as if it was the masjid. Everyone should be in wudu when the prayer time comes in. They should be ready for the salah. As soon as the time comes in, we know that's when everyone's going to pray. Number 2, we should maintain discipline. What do I mean